What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It is I, your host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode for you guys today, as we've got some monumental news as the world of DCEU, along with Warner Brothers Discovery, just continues to certainly shake things up, rattle things up at the unfortunate demise of my heart as it just breaks open today, man. As unfortunately, we wind up getting ourselves some devastating news for big fans of the upcoming Leslie Grace led Batgirl film. According to multiple sources today, guys, it seems as though the Batgirl film has been canceled. That's right, officially shelved over at Warner Brothers Discovery, as they initially have no plans on releasing it on HBO Max or even in theaters. Now, for those of you who have not heard the news as of today, I definitely will go ahead and certainly get you guys caught up, okay? Because again, Leslie Grace was in fact set to go ahead and become Batgirl. The film itself has wrapped. I believe it is currently in post-production. It was officially set to go ahead and release this upcoming 2022 by the end of the year. And if you guys recall, on our episode of A Plus Hero Report back on July 17th, we literally have a topic that talked about the directors not only talking about the darker tones of Batgirl, but we also highlighted the idea that they were even thinking about delaying the release of the film from the end of 2022 to sometime in 2023. And we figured this particular move was maybe to get a release date after The Flash wind up releasing, since The Flash also presented Michael Keaton. That was going to be in the Batgirl movie also, right? So a little bit weird to release Batgirl first and then The Flash. So that's how we thought, or at least one of the reasons we thought for the delay. But it seems as though there was certainly much more going on behind the scenes than we even thought about, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and dive into this particular news for you guys today. As again, this was originally reported by the New York Post. Let me go ahead and pull this up here for you guys. Maybe not necessarily the most reliable source when it certainly comes to news, but this is in fact the exclusive report, the first place that this information was released. And then I believe The Wrap picked up on this story and created it. And before we know, guys, the dominoes start to fall. So let's go ahead and talk about this. This is the New York Post. It says irredeemable Batgirl movie gets shelved by Warner Brothers despite the $70 million price tag. It says, holy millions down the drain, Batman. The DC Films Batgirl will be completely shelved by Warner Brothers, says a top Hollywood source that told the Post. That means it won't hit theaters or the streaming service HBO Max. Fans will not see it. The reportedly $70 million movie, the source said the budget was actually more than $100 million, which was doing test screening for audiences in anticipation of a late 2022 debut, would rank among the most expensive cinematic cast-offs ever. Those tests were said to be so poorly received by moviegoers that the studio decided to cut its losses and run for the sake of the brand's future. It's a DC disaster. They think an unspeakable Batgirl is going to be irredeemable, is what the source wind up saying. The Post did try and reach out to Warner Brothers for comment, and unfortunately did not get anywhere with that. So crazy news, guys. Crazy news. It says Batgirl, which stars Leslie Grace. The Puck newsletter reported in April that WB's then chair Toby Emmerich was considering a theatrical run for the film as well. But it does not seem as though that is unfortunately going to happen. So I'll be honest with you guys. When I first heard this news and I first read it for myself, I honestly didn't believe it. I thought to myself, like, this is just something that's being made up, right? They just want to get me all worked up and riled. It's the New York Post of all places. But as the afternoon continues to go by and you continue to see other sources, other websites certainly talking about it, one of the most reputable sources out there, Deadline, even backed this up, eventually confirming the news for themselves. Deadline reports Warner Brothers shelves Batgirl with no plans to release it theatrically or on HBO Max. Even though Batgirl is in its final stages of post production, this movie's done. It's ready to go. It says Deadline has confirmed that Warner Brothers and DC Films will not be releasing the movie on any platform. This falls in line with the mandate put down by the new WB regime to cut back on feature films premiering on the streamer and deciding which films will be released theatrically and which will be shelved. And sources close to the project say word came down this week that Batgirl did not make the cut. And they also mentioned here that Warner Brothers certainly did not comment also. It says you had Leslie Grace in this movie, Brendan Fraser, Michael Keaton, who was supposed to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne, was expected to bow sometime in 2023. As for the exact reason behind the shelving, sources say the film did not fall in line with the new strategy implemented by DC Films as well as HBO Max. The studio is looking to make theatrical tentpoles with budgets at $90 million plus. They want to make expensive movies. And from early footage seen, this did not fall into place with that model, as Batgirl was greenlit for a $70 million budget. So some of the things that I had heard was that when it comes to Batgirl, they did go ahead and do reshoots. They did go ahead and up the budget for this particular film. And David Zaslav and the CEO, as we've talked about all the changes that are happening from the merger between Discovery and Warner Brothers, they have been open about saying we want to make these films to be big blockbuster event movies. If it's not going to be that, we certainly don't want to make it. And it seems as though a lot of changes are definitely happening behind the scenes, as unfortunately, Batgirl is no more. And I was really looking forward to this damn movie. I truly was. I mean, just think about it here for a second, right? This movie was actually going to be directed by these two gentlemen here from Bad Boys for Life. They also did an amazing job with the Miss Marvel series that we just recently had gotten. A ton of momentum certainly behind them for this film. There was even supposed to be a Michael Keaton in here from some of the as Batman from some of the behind the scenes photos that we had gotten. If you look at the mural closely, maybe possibly even the idea of a Robin at some particular point in time, with maybe some of the changes that were supposed to happen due to the Flash movie. And unfortunately, guys, none of this is going to happen now. The fact that it says fans are not going to see it, I'm kind of curious, is this going to get a hashtag movement also? Release the Batgirl movie. I have no idea, but it is something I certainly would like to see, especially when you've already put money into it. The idea of not even wanting to release it on HBO Max to maybe get subscribers, help out your shareholders. Like, I really want to know what this movie was certainly like to the idea that screen testings got such poor reviews about it. Was it that bad of a movie when they actually saw it, or did it just not live up to their expectations of a big blockbuster event movie? And this really kind of changes the trajectory of everything that we've known. For me, I've kind of been under the impression that if you are in the can, if your film is wrapped, you're probably safe. If you've not gone into production yet, you probably have a lot to worry about. But it seems as though nothing is safe, as David Zaslav has been cutting things left and right, not only trying to save the company a ton of money, but really trying to restructure it as best as he possibly can. And unfortunately, this is one of the ramifications of mergers that honestly just break my heart, especially when it's something that we're anticipating as fans that we're not going to get the opportunity to see. So the big question now becomes, what's next? Does Blue Beetle wind up getting canceled, right? I mean, that movie's not as far along as Batgirl was. If David Zaslav and them don't like what they see, if it doesn't have that big blockbuster event film type, does that mean Blue Beetle gets axed also? And I think what's kind of crazy too, and I've seen some people do some pushback in regards to this, is they find it interesting that of all the movies to get canceled, right? You cancel Batgirl, but yet The Flash is certainly still on the docket, right? Good old Ezra Miller, constantly in legal troubles, just doing the most disgusting things in the world. That movie is carrying a budget of about $200 million. It has been received extremely well. And so, yet, despite the allegations and despite everything that's going on with Ezra Miller, that particular movie is certainly getting its fair share of special treatment. Will that movie get canceled also? Are they going to continue to sit on their hands and still try and release it, considering the amount of money that they've certainly put behind it? I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before, honestly, in the sense that a movie is done, it's completed, it's a decently big budget film. If it has cracked over $1 million in its budget, I think the closest thing we might have come was New Mutants, and I think we had to wait like 2-3 years before that movie actually dropped, but we got to see it. So if there's anybody I feel terrible for, it definitely is not only it's definitely, first of all, Leslie Grace, who I feel like put her heart and soul into this particular film, and for this movie not to see the light of day is, for as a fan, definitely heartbreaking. But for her, Brendan Fraser, Michael Keaton, I got to think they certainly feel some type of way about this. But it does make one ask the question, so where do we go from here, right? I feel like they've technically kind of almost eliminated Michael Keaton, if you will, as Batman. Granted, we still have the Flash movie. That's very much up in the air. But I also do want to know, or am curious, if this is them consolidating, realizing that they got a lot of moving pieces, if you will, maybe a lot of repeat characters, and maybe they kind of want to change a little bit more focus now, right? We just talked about this past week on A Plus Hero Report, that Alan Horn, the former CCO over at Disney that helped Marvel Studios grow, he's now an advisor to David Zaslav. I do wonder if this is in part of trying to restructure, trying to shrink some of the projects that you certainly have, and really focus on what you personally think is going to make a ton of money at the box office, or at least garner more views. So does that mean we continue along with Robert Pattinson? Is he now going to be our Batman, certainly going forward? You're completely eliminating Batgirl in here and the Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne. And what's crazy too is this past week we just talked about the idea of Ben Affleck coming back to go ahead and reprise his role as Batman or as Bruce Wayne in the upcoming Aquaman 2. So it does make one I can understand if people will start percolating the idea of, is Ben Affleck sticking around? Have they come up with another plan? I don't think we're sticking with Snyderverse stuff, but it would not surprise me if Ben Affleck were certainly to stick around and they just continue to tell their own original stories kind of going forward. Again, that's definitely going to be up to David Zaslav and Alan Horn and whoever they certainly bring in to helm the upcoming DC films. But this is a massive shakeup, like anything that I've seen in the past. And so I'm probably going to cry myself to sleep tonight, but at the end of the day, I want to know your guys' thoughts. What did you guys think about this incredible news that we wind up getting today? Definitely let me know your thoughts in the live chat, or the comment section box below, guys. Let me see if I know there's a couple of you guys in here. So let me see what you guys are saying real quick. What's up, Naman? Thank you very much for certainly coming through. You said, I told you guys we need the date. You should have told us that date. Well, they didn't have a date. It was originally scheduled to release the end of 2022, but they wind up delaying it. Again, we just talked about it on the July 17th episode of A Plus Hero Report, that they were going to delay it into 2023. And that certainly might have been the plan. Again, the deadline article did mention that Toby Emmerich, the previous president, was going to go ahead and decide to release Batgirl theatrically. But now that things are certainly changing, poor test screenings, a big budget, if you will, it seems as though David Zaslav is continuing to try and save money wherever he certainly could. Jackson says, no way, this is for real. Yeah, man, I didn't believe it at first, but the more and more reputable sources that start coming forward and start talking about it, especially Deadline, you definitely have to perk up your ears and certainly listen. Oliver says, this news is crazy. Absolutely, especially when I myself as a fan certainly wind up getting invested in it. Carter Matthew says, is the Flash movie also canceled too regarding Ezra Miller? How about the other superhero films that were announced, like the guy from Cobra Snake series? Yeah, we were just talking about that. Does that mean that Blue Beetle is certainly on its way to go ahead and be canceled? I am kind of curious as to exactly what their game plan is, which, mind you, Blue Beetle was confirmed and moved theatrically. So I think that's one less hurdle that that movie has to forego. It's really, I think, probably going to come down to screen testings. If it does well and it's well received, maybe they stick around with it. And that's another reason why a part of me thinks that maybe the Flash movie sticks around, just based off of the reception that we've had to the film itself, outside of the crazy Ezra Miller stuff and the push for, hey, cancel him as the Flash, right? Like, just recast him. And I do think they will get to that point of recasting Ezra. I have no doubt about that. I do think that that certainly will happen. It's just a matter of, will they still release this film in order to kind of get some of that money back? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oliver says, you just happen to wear the Batman shirt for this breaking news. Absolutely. Chris Crossman says, test screenings and test goers, that's for past DCEU films. Any chance those moviegoers just suck at movies? I mean, I think they probably do pay attention to what their screeners are certainly saying, for sure. Carter says, they just wasted money, which this entire production and hard work and hours by the cast and crew. I mean, listen, I absolutely agree with you, Carter. I do think it's a huge waste of money, cutting costs. But from what I've been hearing when it comes to David Zaslav, he does not mind. He does not mind certainly losing the money. I'm assuming maybe David Zaslav's a pretty rich guy himself, or maybe he's got some pretty good moves in regards to how he navigates his productions and his films and his shows and things like that, where he's able to go ahead and make that money back easy, whatever case may be. I guess it's the idea of swallowing that particular hit, taking that hit, and just knowing that at the end of the day, what you do create going forward might make up for it. But yeah, it seems as though he has no problem in doing that. Nicole says, I was really looking forward to this forward for this fun. I love Leslie in the musical film In the Heights. Yeah, I thought she was absolutely great. And just hearing how Leslie was talking about her role as Barbara, how much she connects to it, how much she really gained, if you will, from that, gained experience wise, from understanding Barbara Gordon, and just for her own acting perspective. I really wanted to see how she was able to transform into this character, doing something like this for the very first time. So I was really looking forward to it. I really was. Oliver says, bad news 2 days in a row, the Flash series and now Batgirl. Why, Warner Brothers? Yeah, well, with um, I guess with at least with the Flash series, all good things certainly must come to an end, right? 9 seasons of that, but definitely a surprise with the Batgirl movie. Good old Matthew Aguilar from Comic Book Nation. What's up, what's up, Matthew? Good to see you in here. I'm devastated too, man. I'm surprised I didn't bring my tissues with me. Oh, here, I got. I'm telling you, man, it's heartbreaking. This news is heartbreaking. I really wanted to see this Batgirl come to life, right? Like, such a tentpole character within the Batman franchise. I think this is a movie that plenty of people have been asking for quite some time, or at least the expansion of the Bat family in some respects. And one of the things I've always talked about is, like, Batman is such a character that he literally could have his own cinematic universe if he wanted to, and not have to include him in everything else related, and maybe branch off and create some of these individual Bat family films. And I really thought Batgirl would certainly be up their alley. I hope they don't cancel the Blue Beetle film either, Edward. I'm right there with you, man. But we'll see. We'll see. Big news here. I'm pretty sure Aquaman 2 is probably fine. That's the only film, I think, when it comes to the DCEU so far, that's actually broken $1 billion. I don't know if that's a mandatory thing for David Zaslav, where you got to make $1 billion, or you just don't make the cut. So there's a part of me is kind of worried for Robert Pattinson's Batman, but at the same time, not really. Like, there's a part of me that kind of thinks maybe this is them trying to, again, consolidate, maybe shrink down all the various versions of the characters, make things a little bit more simplistic, more straight line, if you will, and really give us sort of our definitive characters and maybe not dive into the multiverse or the Elseworlds concept and play that game, if you will, in regards to maybe confusing general audiences. So it will be a really interesting things moving forward. And I kind of really want to hear from Leslie Grace herself. I don't believe that we've heard anything from her as of yet, but I really would like to see her reaction to the news that we wind up getting here today. So I want to say, out of all the David Zaslav things that he's cut, while I definitely respect the guy, and I feel like at the end of the heartbreak, there will be a rainbow at the end of this, with hopefully some sunshine, and the DCEU certainly moving in a much better direction and certainly what it was. Getting to that point, though, will definitely be hard for us fans, to certainly say the least. Again, it just makes me wonder, what else will David Zaslav chop at the knees? But we definitely will go ahead and continue to keep you updated in regards to everything that certainly happens. Yeah, guys, Batgirl officially canceled. But let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this further on A Plus Hero Report this upcoming weekend, guys. So definitely stay tuned to us every Sunday live at noon Central Time. This will definitely be one of our major topics to certainly go ahead and discuss. And maybe we've got some more news for you guys from by then, and some other perspectives as well in regards to this massive news. But until then, do me a big favor, as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.